Hiya, welcome to GGKCS, the multi-generational podcast / FlossTube for fans of everything knitting, cross-stitch, and geeky. I'm Cece, also known as Java Pearl. Today is Monday, the 20th of July, 2020, and this is Stitch With Me, episode 14. Let me tell you what I'm working on so I can start stitching, and then we'll have some conversation. So I'm continuing to work on the third and final pattern from the Pusheen cross-stitch kit. I'm on 14 count Ada with the flosses that came with the kit, and this is the pattern I'm currently working on. As you can see, I just have this little bit to fill in. If I film today and next week, I want to be done with this. So we're going to get started on it so that I can hopefully finish it by next week when we are doing Stitch With Me. So, as you may have noticed, the intro there was a little bit different. If you are new, a big welcome back. Love you guys to all the returning viewers, and a big hiya to any new viewers. Thanks for giving us a shot. We hope you enjoy the show. So, we have been known for a number of years as at first it was the Geeky Girls Knit podcast, and then when we added cross stitch, we changed it to Geeky Girls Knit and Cross Stitch. But thank you for understanding about me not recording last week, for my Stitch With Me. If you missed the message, I got a really bad sunburn on my arms, and which should not have happened because I was under an SPF 75 tent, but the sun apparently was reflecting and it was coming in on the sides, and we didn't have the sides on the tent. It was painful and yucky. So that's why I did not record last week for the Stitch With Me. Okay, so anyway, as I talked about in the Stitch With Me a couple weeks ago, my 20-year-old adult child came out publicly as non-binary and a lesbian. And one of our viewers helped us to recognize that it would not be accurate to continue calling the podcast Geeky Girls Knit and Cross Stitch because Dammy does not identify as female. Dammy's pronouns are they, them. So we debated changing the G for girls to another word, and we couldn't find a word that we liked. And so we finally just decided that we're going to just go with the initials. So we were in the process of trying to start changing that everywhere. It's going to take time. We have a 3-page long list of places that things have to be changed. We are not planning to go back and change images in prior podcasts because we have over 400 podcasts episodes, and that would take forever. So we probably will change the last month or two maybe, and then going forward with a new thing. So our website is now ggkcs.com. The problem that we are now running into is Facebook thinks that it is spam. And so it does not want to let us link to the website when we post about new episodes. It does not want to let us use a tiny URL to do it. It does not want us to let us use a buffer link, which is the scheduling program that we use for social media, for scheduling posts about the podcast or when we have new knitting patterns out or having a sale or whatever. So we're going to have to try to figure out what to do about that. It's annoying because it's not spam. And when I try to, it pops up a thing and says, let us know if this ruling is not accurate. Well, when you do that, they don't respond individually to that. They just take that into consideration, in general, for the future of, everybody posting links. That doesn't help me. So, we have to figure out what to do about that. We're not sure. But anyway, that is kind of where we're at. We will be updating things in the days ahead. You may have already noticed when I did the title card for this Stitch With Me, it has our updated logo on it. You'll notice in the after the episode, the ending credits, the ending cards. I'll have the new logo and website on them, but it will take time to update things everywhere, as I said, because the list is long and time is short. Dammy is continuing to do their 2 science classes with the community college. It's been a very frustrating time for them with professors that are not engaged, who aren't providing all the information they need to be able to do their assignments, and it's just really frustrating. Thankfully, this is just I believe it's a 6-week class, so they are coming up on being at the halfway mark. So hopefully they will make it through. I know they will make it through. It's just very frustrating in the meantime. So, trying to think what else to tell you about. When it's felt so weird not to record a podcast episode and a Stitch with Me, because we had planned to record a regular podcast FlossTube episode a day earlier than normal, not last week, the week before, because I was leaving to go to Idaho for a work event. And then I just couldn't do it. There was so much on my plate trying to get ready to go, and I just was not doing well. And Dammy was like, why don't we just not record? And I was like, but we told them we were going to. And they were like, it's okay, they will understand. And everybody has been very understanding. So, there's not many weeks that we have not recorded an episode over next month, August the 30th, I believe. I think it's the 30th. Will be 8 years of podcasting. It'll be our 8th podiversary. So, yeah, it's definitely been a constant in our lives for a very long time now. So it always feels off when we don't record, or when we record on a different day than normal, or whatever. So, yeah. But such is life. We all need breaks, and you have to do what you have to do, to make things work. And generally, people are understanding, and we're grateful for that. Yeah. And there'll be a normal episode this week. It'll come out on Friday, and we're just trying to stay cool here. It's gotten a little bit warmer. Heat and humidity is a real trigger for me for my fibromyalgia. So I'm doing the best I can to stay cool. But it's hard living in a place where air conditioning is not the norm. And obviously, too, many things are still closed, as should be, because of the pandemic. I was talking to my boss on the phone this morning. I work, in case you don't know, I work for a fiber mill that processes mostly wool and alpaca, but we do some other things as well. Fiber into either yarn or roving for spinning. And I was talking to my boss on the phone this morning, and I was like, I'm really worried because things are increasing again. Here in the county where we live, in the last 2 weeks, the number of cases has almost doubled as to what it was prior to that, which is scary. And my boss and I were both saying, why can I not? This floss that came with this kit is not great. And if I had realized that, I would have probably Tried to color match it with DMC and use DMC. And honestly, the little bit that's left over from this kit, now that I'll be finishing up this third one, the remainder is going in the trash because it's not great to work with. And yeah. What was I saying? Oh, it would not surprise. We were just saying that it would not surprise us if we have to go back to a stay-at-home order. And gosh, I know that there are so many hard decisions having to be made right now and in the upcoming weeks about school and back to school and what is best for our kids and their teachers and families and everything. Dammy's university is still currently scheduled to being back on campus middle of September, but it won't surprise us if that doesn't happen. So, but we can only do what we can do, and we need to do the best we can to take care of each other, and for God's sake, please wear your mask. It's a piece of fabric. Wear it. It protects people. Yeah. Wear your masks. I have a, on my desk, I have a basket tub type thing with clean fabric masks in it that I put them into after they've been washed and hung up to dry. And when I'm leaving the house, which is not very often, but when I do, I grab my mask and put it on because I need to protect myself and I need to protect my family and I need to protect anybody that I come into contact with and anyone they then come into contact with after coming into contact with me. And I'm not sick. I have no symptoms, nothing. But man, how bad would I feel if I was exposed and didn't have any symptoms and then passed it on to someone else. That would be devastating. So, yeah. Think about each other. Take care of each other. Wear your masks. So, okay. So, instead of answering prompts out of the journaling prompts book that I normally do, my friend Michelle Bindi Stitchy, answered a tag on her Stitch With Me last week, and I was like, maybe I'll just do that. So that's what I did. I found the list of prompts, or list of questions, there's 12 questions, on YouTube, and printed them out, and trying to see, I don't want my needle to come unthreaded. There is the end right there. Okay. Just making sure I don't want my needle to come unthreaded. There's 12 questions, and this is the hashtag bellastitchpandemictag. It was put together by Abby Bellastitch on YouTube, and I will link in the show notes as well as in the YouTube description. I will put a link to the tag in case you would like to answer it as well. So, first question. Number 1, what country are you in? I am in the United States. I am in the Pacific Northwest. We live in Washington State. We are on the Kitsap Peninsula, which is an hour ferry ride. Is it only me that has to literally think out the compass in your head? We are an hour ferry ride west of Seattle. How do you remember the compass? I do it by news. NEWS. I don't know if that was I don't know if I'm mirrored or whatever on the screen, but that's how I always have to remember it as news. Okay, this is going to be this last stitch, and then I will weave it in here. So yes, we are in a town called Bremerton. And yeah, okay. Number 2, when did you start staying home? Well, I'm a homebody anyway, so I had been staying home already. Did this just come unthreaded? Don't you hate that when you're ready to weave in the end and it comes unthreaded? Okay, let me cut off the excess here and see if I can get it rethreaded to weave in the ends. When did I start staying home? So I'm home much of the time anyway. I work from home, and we're just real home buddies. But okay, I'm sorry, I got to lift this up here and try to get this dadgum thing rethreaded so that I can weave in the end. My word, this thread is not great. The day the stay-at-home order came out or was announced here in Washington State was sometime in March, and Dammy and I actually had gone out to the fiber mill that I work for. It's about an hour. Okay, you know what? We are going to just... I will stitch over the end because it's being a pain in the butt. Dammy and I were actually out at the fiber mill that day. I was getting some work done, and Dammy did a day's worth of work helping to process fiber while I was doing other work and meeting with my boss and all of that. So that day, as we were coming home, the announcement was made about the stay-at-home order. And once that happened, I did not leave the house until about 3 weeks ago. I did not leave for any reason. I'm sorry that I'm not holding this where you can see it better. I need to get this started correctly here and try to make sure that I'm getting this end stitched over. And it's a mess. So Dammy was home from school already because of spring break and then didn't go back. Dammy and Russ would go out for, groceries, food, whatever. Russ was still working in Seattle when things first started and eventually got permission to work from home for a while. But yeah, I didn't leave the house at all for a good probably 11, 12 weeks, I would guess. Everything runs together, so it's like, I don't even honestly know for sure. But, and now that I am out and about I did go to Idaho for my work trip. It was all very much social distanced. Everybody was wearing masks. Everything was 6 feet apart. There was hand washing stations and hand sanitizer, and we wiped down things, and we were very, very diligent about what we were doing. I felt comfortable going because it was an outdoor event. Otherwise, I would not have gone. But other than that, I have been into a store twice since I started going out again. And I am meeting again with my mom's group, but it's only 4 adults, including me, and we social distance, and the kids are typically playing outside, and there's not a ton of kids that actually come. So I feel safe doing that, but, other than, driving to pick up some food or whatever, we're still staying at home for the most part, other than Russ is back at work in Seattle. So but he is wearing a mask and social distancing, meeting with his clients, and requiring them to, the clients are required to wear masks, and public transit is all required to wear masks and social distance, and they've cut down the number of people that are allowed to be on public transit, and so they're taking a lot of precautions. So, yeah. Okay, number 3, did staying home bother you? For the most part, no. Like I said, I'm a homebody, and so it wasn't a huge change to be staying at home. What I have missed, what I did miss, what I continue to miss, is like getting together with friends, like for stitching group and such. My mom's group is meeting again, and so that is a positive. But yeah, not being able to get together with friends who are my support system, community, and not being able to like run to the store to pick up stuff because I didn't feel safe doing that. So that was my big concerns. Number 4, are you an essential worker? No, I'm not, but I continued to work because I work from home. The fiber mill that I work for, continued to run because it is actually on the property of the owner. And so she like walks out her door and walks, about 5-6 steps and is immediately in the mill. At that point, when the stay-at-home order came down, she was working primarily on her own in the mill. There are now some part-time employees, but they're all being very safe, wearing masks, social distancing as much as possible and such. It's a very small operation, and so there's not a lot of exposure. So, yes. Number 5, how do you cope with the current situation? Crafting. Crafting is my big deal, whether it's cross-stitch or knitting. A lot of reading. I started back journaling during the pandemic, and it has been that has been a huge thing for me to be journaling. I have watched a lot of TV, which is normal. I mean, I watch quite a bit of TV anyway, being a big homebody. But I watch while I don't ever watch TV without also being either crafting or something. I'm not somebody, I can't just sit down and watch TV and not have my hands busy doing something. I have to be actively doing something. So, number 6, how many projects have you started since lockdown? I pulled my, I have one of these Happy Notes notebooks made by Happy Planner, and I wanted to pull because I needed to look to see. So if we go back to like mid-May, knitting-wise, I started a lot and finished a lot. Well, because that's number 7. How many projects have you finished since lockdown? You know what? Let's look at it from when Stash Dash started. So Stash Dash is a challenge done by the Knit Girls podcast, and it's traditionally just knitting, but knitting, crochet, weaving, and spinning, but I made some cross-stitch goals for myself as well. So knitting, I have finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have finished 15 projects. I have another one that'll be finished in the next couple of days. And started knitting projects 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 projects that I've started. Cross stitch. Oh, see, now, so, no, the pandemic started back in, like, March. So I didn't even take into account those when I was talking about Stash Dash. So more than that. That would have been, like, started with, like, Preemie Hat number 13, and I'm up to 29 now finished. So that's what, like 16 preemie hats. I started and finished the Let's Stay Home cross stitch. I started and finished Socks for Russ. I can't remember when I started delivering the coffee beans cross stitch, but I finished that. I started and finished a little cross stitch for a swap. I think I probably started and finished Olga cross stitch. Started and finished another pair of socks. Started and finished Hildy's brew. Finished another pair of socks. Finished a shawl that's been on the needles forever. A pair of slippers, another pair of socks. I started and finished Hildy's strawberry patch, another pair of slippers, and then currently on the needles I have another pair of slippers and a pair of socks. Cross stitch, I started Edinburgh Castle during the pandemic, and I'm over, let's see, where can I see where I am on that? I'm over 18,000 stitches in on that now. I'm continuing to work on my Christmas list, and that will be finished in the next month. Started Dammy's Cats and Mandalas February. That's the first of 3 that I'm stitching for Dammy for their birthday. So, I have started and finished a lot of things during the pandemic. I didn't count, but a lot. Now a lot of those are preemie hats that I start and finish in just a couple hours time every Sunday. So, but yeah. Okay, number 8. Where have you been doing your pandemic stash shopping? Primarily 1-2-3 Stitch. Although where did I order from? I ordered floss from another place because 1-2-3 Stitch did not have it in stock. And, I just got an email yesterday that one of the ones I had been waiting for and ended up purchasing somewhere else was finally back in stock. So, I have not done a lot of other shopping, though. I did buy the Cats and Mandalas, the 3 patterns that I'm stitching for Dammy. I'm continuing to get my Fortnite Fabric of the Month shipments, so I've gotten those. I think that's about it. I have not done a ton of shopping during the pandemic. I do miss going to Acorns and Threads in Portland and hope to be able to start doing that again. Who knows when that will happen, but maybe. Okay, the next 2 questions are about joining in 2 different stitch-alongs, and I really don't know about either of them. One of them is hashtag dammit Megan Sal, and the other is hashtag SCH long along, or is it I don't know. I don't know about either one of those. So I'm not participating because I don't even know what either one of them are. The next question, number 11, what other Sals have you joined? Well, I did the hashtag Bindi Hildy Sal that I started with Liz of who is Bit Needle Makes, I think that's correct, on Instagram. And I have finished all 3 Hildys that have been released now. And I am excited to do the FFOing on those hopefully sometime soon, but I need to go to the craft store for some stuff. I have you can't see it behind me, but behind me I have a stack of finished cross stitches that need to be, pieces that need to be FFO'd. So that will happen eventually. And then number 12. What are you looking forward to in the second half of 2020? I'm hoping that things will calm down with the pandemic. I hope that people will start being smart and wearing their masks or continue to wear their masks. I know there's so many people that are missing things, my heart just broke for students that graduated and didn't get to have their actual graduations, didn't get to have prom, students that are in music or theater arts or things like that didn't get to have their plays or their performances or their musicals, Dammy included. Dammy was cast as the lead in a play and didn't get to do it because of the pandemic. So I'm hopeful that things can return to, or things can reopen and things can get back to some kind of normal. But I know also that there's lots and lots of heartbreak and things going on in our country right now around racism and LGBTQIA plus rights, and some not wise decisions are being made by government officials, and there's a lot of people hurting and being hurt and being killed and pain caused, and it's not fair, and it makes me angry, and I hope that it stops. I was, again, talking to my boss this morning, and we were talking about, we're making changes in our lives, but it doesn't feel like that's enough. And, I'm going to stop stitching right here because I don't want to start stitching and not finish this row, because I will definitely finish this next week while we have Stitch with Me. But anyway, we were talking about the fact that it can feel like nothing's changing, even though we're making changes in our lives. And I just reminded her, I'm like, you know what? This is how change happens. It has to happen on an individual level and family level and business level, small businesses and bigger businesses and churches and religion. And it has to start, though, small. It has to start with us, each as an individual, making choices that then we can help implement into the wider world. A ruling is not going to be made and all of a sudden everything changes. That's just not what's going to happen. So I'm hopeful that people realize that changes need to be made, and that each of us do our part in helping to make those changes happen. Personally, what am I looking forward to in the second half of 2020? I'm just ready for 2021. I'm like, can we just the rest of the year and let's just move on? But Dammy is turning 21 in October, so I'm looking forward to that. And I am planning on releasing 2 new knitting patterns in October that I've designed the first one, and the second one is going on the needles as soon as I finish the slippers that I'm working on, which should be done in the next couple days. So I'm excited about that, and just I've been doing a lot of personal work on myself and such, and I just hope that I can continue to move forward in a positive way with the things that I'm realizing and learning about myself, and that I can be wise about decisions and choices that I make in the future as I continue to work on myself. So, yeah. Well, I'm going to stop there, you guys. I'm so close. I definitely will finish this next week. I've just got those 2 longer rows and then just these 3 stitches and 5 stitches there, and then this will be done. I'm excited. So, and then I have to figure out what I'm going to work on during Stitch with Me, because I don't know that the cats and mandalas are going to work, because if I'm working just on the cat, yes, but the actual, flowers and parts of the mandalas are very confetti, kind of heavy. Lots of colors, and not lots of, there's not blocks of colors, like there is, on this. So, I may have to start something new just to work on during Stitch with Me, so we'll see. Anyway, I'm over 30 minutes now because I rambled on some stuff, but that's okay. Thank you for joining me today. If you would like to find us online, we are now at GGKCS.com, and there you'll find links to everywhere else we are online: YouTube, it's not iTunes anymore. It's Apple Podcasts, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc. And I hope that you have a great week ahead. Take care of yourself. Take care of those you love. Wear your masks. And happy crafting. And we will be back with you on Friday with a new podcast /FlossTube episode. Until then, happy crafting.